We all can't forget that powerful and otherworldly voice from Turin. Australia's Sheldon Riley is releasing his follow-up single, Insane, after representing Australia at Eurovision 2022 with his equally insane performance. We're excited to hear more about his music, his experiences at Eurovision, and what he's been up to. So welcome, Sheldon.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. All right, your new single, Insane, drops on May 2. I've luckily had a sneak peek, and it is hauntingly beautiful.
Oh,
Clearly,
thank you.
clearly tells us about a time in your life that was maybe a little bit vulnerable or fragile. Tell us a little bit about more about what your inspiration was behind this song.
Yeah, definitely. Little fun fact, it was actually supposed to be the Eurovision song. I pushed pretty hard for it. I was like, this is what I want, and this is how I'd perform it. I even sung it to Paul Clark, who is the one of the heads at Bling TV, one of the Australian delegation. He's great, but I sung it on a guitar. I was like, it's gonna be good. Like it doesn't it's not as slow as not the same, and it builds crazy. And I mean, look, it was fast approaching, and not the same was finished, and Insane wasn't. So I think that's where we led. But everything was everything was planned out. So the whole video is exactly how I would have performed it at Eurovision as well. I kind of wanted to be like Lorraine and have the head mic and do it exactly the same as the video, the light and everything. But it was really fun. Everything's been really exciting with this song. It's been cool to, kind of treat it like a Eurovision song as well.
Oh, I love that. I had no idea it was going to be maybe the song for Eurovision. I mean, conceptually, at least visually, I'd encourage everyone not just to stream it, but to watch it as well, because it is a beautifully shot song. You've got this
Thank you.
amazing outfit that no doubt the hair you have today forms a part of. Um, dare I say it's almost your outfit like Cousin It, but make it high fashion?
Well, that was the vibes, the whole thing. I said to my partner when we first started kind of building it, I was like, I want it to be inspired by all the insane people from TV and film that are kind of bad guys but are good. So like the Addams Family was big, and Twilight, Harry Potter, um, all of Disney, Tim Burton, like characters that feel evil, but they're kind of the ones that we love. That was the whole thing, just like all these different insane characters. That was what was going on in my mind. So yeah,
Love that. Everyone loves the villain from Disney, right? They're always the most memorable.
that's my thoughts. I mean, Cruella de Vil's my favorite.
Love that. And I guess it's kind of a continuation. It's good to hear that. I guess it was kind of in the same vein as not the same, because it's kind of continuation of, an anthology of sounds. It sounds very deep and personal about, where you were in your life when you wrote it. Can you tell us about that creative process in writing it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so Not the Same was very much written about me. It was very personal. It was very, everything that it is. Insane was different. It's more how I like to write, which is, about love and heartbreak. And essentially the song is just when you love someone with everything that you have, and ultimately they only love you back when it's convenient for them, and you think, am I insane for doing this? But before you've answered that, you're back to loving them again, and they're back to choosing when they love and hate you. That's the whole song. But I guess the visual concept is just the kind of insanity and the torture you put on yourself in that, and it's just kind of like one big brain thought. That's the whole concept of it. But I mean, it was around the time of COVID when I wrote it. I was locked at home, and I was just, I think, you go through things in life and you don't really, I don't know, some people do. I don't like to process things too much, but when I'm left alone for too long, like we were at during, lockdown, all these kind of things started coming out. As I might as well write about them, and that was kind of where it was born.
Yeah, and for all our international viewers, you're based in Melbourne that had one of the most strict COVID lockdowns in the world, actually.
It was the
So,
worst. I
yeah,
think wasn't not the worst. It was the longest lockdown in the entire world, wasn't it? Am I crazy?
yeah,
It
definitely.
was bad. Lots of
Um,
different, but I mean Australia in general was just, it was not great.
no, it wasn't at all, especially for our artists too. On that kind of sound, are you starting to think about maybe developing an album off the back of these kinds of tracks?
Good. So that's what's happening. So Insane is the first single off the record, and I'm just gonna release them. So because every song is a different creature, it's a different vibe, it's a different something, but it all kind of ties in together. So I want to, I was thinking, we drop an album and then they all just get released, or do I make a massive moment out of every single song that I've got? Because I mean, I don't want to just create filler tracks for the fun of it. I'm very visually involved, and I want to make sure that everyone kind of, you get to feel what I'm feeling visually as well.
Yeah, definitely. We know, especially with your performance at Eurovision, but even on The Voice,
Mm.
your performances are not just musical in terms of lyrics. It's all about the visual, the image, the storytelling as well. Since Eurovision, you've not stopped. Um,
Been crazy, right?
it's been insane. I mean, I saw you at World Pride opening as well. You opened that, which was amazing. You're on The Masked Singer in Australia as well. You came
I
second.
sure was,
What was,
ironically, right?
yeah, you're well and truly used to wearing masks at that point. What was that experience like?
Well, that was the funny part of it, because I was in Milan. I just left Turin, and I was hanging around, and I'm like, I'm gonna stick around here. I was actually just hanging out with Ranella from Albania in the studio, and it was just all happening. And then I get a call from my manager, and he's like, "Hey, you're not gonna like this." I was like, "Okay, guys, but we've got an offer." And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "It's for TV." I'm like, "No, no more TV. I've done everything. I've just done the whole Eurovision pre-party thing. Every interview was talking about how I've done every show known to man. Like, we can't do that again. But what is it?" And then he was just like, "It's The Masked Singer. We'll only have you for, you know, 1 or 2 episodes. Just we'll fill you in at the end, and then you can just have a fun time with it." And I'm like, "No, no. If I'm gonna do it, I want to do the whole thing. I want to do the whole experience and make something of it." So got to choose the outfit, this massive flower with these huge wings. And I remember the production calling my partner, being like, "Hey, we're gonna do kind of like a safety thing with Sheldon, and just test it all out so it's all good, because the outfit's really heavy. It's like 20 kilos." And I'm just like, "Oh, the Eurovision skirt was 35 alone, so I think we'll be all right." And the mask is pretty difficult. I'm like, "Nah, I think we should be sweet." So that was a fun time.
And what was it like not being able to tell your family and friends that you're on this show?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, to be honest with you, after the second TV show, I kind of just stopped telling people I was going on things until they came out. So it wasn't too much. It was more so because it took quite a big chunk of time. But I mean, after Eurovision, I kind of needed that break anyway. I would have loved to have kept pumping hard, and staying in Europe, but it was a lot more personal than what I was expecting, and it kind of felt more like, uh, you know, 15 years of therapy and 15-week campaign. So kind of just needed to settle down. So it was a nice way to kind of do what I was, born to do, but at the same time not have to focus too much in the light and just, sing.
Yeah, on that as well, because we all remember you back on The Voice where you said that Eurovision was your dream.
Oh yeah.
Um, since you've done it, have you reflected on that experience? What are some memories you take away from that experience?
It was just such a fever dream. Hey, I still can't believe I did it. I think the thing we're most proud of is that Australia is we've got such a standard. I mean, so many people still don't think we belong there, which is why the production here in Australia, they push us so hard to make sure we give the most outrageous performance. I remember just before Turin, when I was, selected at the national final, they said there's this big rainbows LED screen in Turin,
Mm.
and everyone's going to use it. We're not going to use it. That's not what Australia does. We like to create a whole immersive experience, and our best performers are the ones who have really taken that. So, Dami and Kate Miller-Heidke with Zero Gravity, like, really, let's think outside the box. And I was like, all right, let's do a 3-story staircase and a 40-kilo outfit, and let's go crazy. So I mean, we did that, but I mean, we're independent. There's,
Mm.
Dami and I mean, when you're with a label, you've got a massive team, and or even if you've got a publisher, you've got a great amount of money to back that. We're completely independent. I've been saving for this for my entire life, so we did all of that ourselves, and I feel like we created a really magical moment out of what we had, which was something I really wanted to make sure we did.
Yeah, and it speaks, I guess, to your artistry as well. You are an independent artist, and a lot of this is kind of your own concept. You're also an advocate for the LGBT community here in Australia. Um, what is it like raising or using your platform to raise awareness not only for LGBT but for independent artistry as well in Australia?
I mean, yeah, like, I've always I mean, I've always known I was gay, so I guess that I think I was kind of put into the advocate role because you mean in Australia, if you dress the way I dress, straight away you're, labeled as what sexuality you are. But I mean, I'm just a people advocate. I just like to have people be okay with being who they are. Because I mean, I always dreamt of having long hair, and now I finally got it. I mean, it's just little things like that. But I mean, being an independent artist is something that means a lot to me, especially at the moment. I mean, we are working so hard, and if being a part of the LGBT community wasn't already hard enough, it's so hard to make waves being independent as well. So when I see people doing it and working hard, I get so proud of other people. I get so excited, and it makes me want to work harder because I mean, I was told forever I would never ever represent Eurovision. It was never ever going to happen. I was even told I might not even get an interview with the person who makes the choice to who gets selected for a selection show. So for me, I just don't let anything stop me anymore. I made the impossible happen. So I just, that's my standpoint on everything.
That's amazing. I think that was the beauty of Australia Decides as well, as a format where they did allow independent artists to come in and have a say there, when it used to just be record labels getting their artists through. So it's amazing that you're able to do that. It goes without saying, you're a massive Eurovision fan. Got to ask, who have you been streaming the most this year for Eurovision? What are your predictions?
Yeah, look, I fall in love with Eurovision every single year. I could just be the way that my brain works, but I was just saying this earlier, but I choose one song every year, and I don't know why, but it will be the only song that I listen to for the rest of the year. And up until maybe 2 months ago, Hold Me Closer by Cornelia was the only song I played. Before that was Voila. Before that was, John Tez. And before that was Kate Miller Hike. I have not stopped listening to Tattoo like you wouldn't even believe. Like I'm this close to getting lyrics tattooed on my body. That's how in love I am with. I mean, the hair was so massively inspired by her. My music video inspired by her. She's exceptional. I saw her in Amsterdam and I fell so deeply in love, even more than what I already was. What an insane artist. And not just because she's the ruler of Eurovision. I feel like we fall in love with Eurovision acts because the song's good, or because their personality is great and funny, or because the outfits. Like, she is everything. I would be shocked if she I mean, there are some very strong contenders this year, though. I mean, Finland's great, Norway's great, France is probably my second favorite. I'm obsessed. This year's really good. I think now, seeing COVID very far away in the distance now, I feel like some of the strongest artists are so excited to jump in and be like, yep, let's do this. Like, I'm willing to take the risk. So
you and Lorraine have a very similar vibe. I'd love to see a duet between you guys.
Do you know what? It's going to happen. And let's look back to this video one day and just, create a viral TikTok where we talk about this, and then like 3 years down the track, it happens.
We're manifesting it.
Could you imagine? I would be in love.
100%. All of us at Wiwibloggs love your artistry, Sheldon. We can't wait to hear Insane when it comes out in May too, and your album. Any words for your fans at Wiwibloggs?
Just thank you so much for all the love and support. I say this every time, but I feel like the Eurovision audience has ruined my life, because it's just not exciting when I go and do other gigs anymore. Like, no one gets as excited as what Eurovision people do. I mean, I'm singing Not the Same, which is just so sad and so emotional, and people are just like jumping up and down and smiling. Like, only a Euro audience would do that. So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the Euroverse. So
we would love to see you back. We would love to see you back.
It's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
Eurovision Asia,
Maybe not Australia, but I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
Let's do it. Everyone, you can stream Insane worldwide on May 2 on all major streaming platforms, but do make sure you watch it on YouTube, because it's a beautiful video clip. Sheldon, can't wait to see what you do next, and good luck on your upcoming album.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.